like you, brother.
Ethan. Where's the rabbit's foot?
Oh man, they dragged Philip Seymour Hoffman into this, didn't they?
Sending Philip Seymour Hoffman. He was legit the best villain in the whole series.
Also, it took J.J. Abrams all of 45 seconds to turn the Mission Impossible franchise into an Alias spin-off.
Arbitrary TV reference.
You don't care about these people now, but you will by the time we show you this scene again, or something.
I cared. Sure, at this point we haven't met Julia yet, but the fact that Ethan cares so much about her is made very clear, so therefore I want to know why. And the scene does a great job differentiating itself from the last film with its darker and more serious tone.
It appears Julia has a strict Heinz policy for all her condiments.
Pointing things out on the screen.
Hey, that's Greg Grunberg from Alias and the first episode of Lost. You think this guy ever goes up to J.J. Abrams and says, "Dude, you've got the power now. Give me a good role. Let me play Ethan's short round or something."
Well, if it makes you feel better, he played a Resistance pilot in Star Wars when Abrams eventually directed that. But I'm sending you for basically just going, "Hey, look, there's an actor I know." That's literally what this sin was.
I study traffic patterns. You can literally track the ripple effect of that action across a 200-mile stretch of road.
Well, I found it interesting. Just because you suck doesn't make it boring. Boobies! Damn, where am I? And who drew this dick on my face?
Jeremy says boner.
This is Ready Travel Resort Services.
This is clearly a freaking Alias episode. Good God, he's hiding his spy shit from his loved ones, pretending to be someone else. Sooner or later, you're going to introduce Rambaldi artifacts into this thing.
Dude, you already mentioned Alias twice. You don't need to do it again.
Take some pictures of the party for me.
I hope he keeps his receipt and bills the CIA for the price of this camera.
Okay.
Is it possible that the CIA downgraded their secret message delivery system? Yeah, let's forget MI2, but those were some slick-ass sunglasses.
Those sunglasses also made a huge explosion, but it didn't matter then because Ethan was in the middle of nowhere. Here, he's at his own house with his girlfriend. I think the IMF would want this to be more subtle.
It appears they have a hostage. We believe it's Agent Ferris. Normally we would disavow.
But have you seen Agent Ferris? She's Carrie Russell, and she's super hot. So the disavowing will be put on hold.
I'm glad you didn't say Carrie Russell isn't my girlfriend, but the same idea is still there.
Tom Cruise riding a motorcycle cliche.
Oh no. Are you gonna send this in every single movie?
Dude clearly said,
Wheels up at sunrise if you have a change of heart.
But here's Ethan, arriving at a time where these shadows on the ground suggest the sun is already directly overhead. He's 5 or 6 hours late, but they still waited for him.
You can clearly see the shadows are facing this direction right here, so it is still sunrise, and he didn't exactly say what hour.
Why would 14 bad guys and a hostage set up shop in a place like this without setting up cameras, or at least lookouts and
We later find out that Musgrave set this up and wanted Ethan to rescue Lindsay.
So, Raider 1, at some point we gotta go over this whole getting married thing.
Because I'm a man, and men tease and scold other men for getting married, even if they're out in the field on a dangerous mission.
No, it's because they're secret agents. Luther brings up a good point that marrying someone while you're an IMF agent is not a great idea. It's similar to superheroes, where if the villain finds out who you are, they'll capture whoever you love and use them as hostages. Which is exactly what happens in this movie, and why Julia isn't in the future movies very much.
You'd think J.J. Abrams would be above the I don't know what the hell is going on action scene, but he's not.
Pretty sure you're the only one who doesn't know what's going on, which doesn't surprise me.
Turn off your transmitter.
I've got something really important to say that I will never be able to tell you because I'm going to die soon, but it probably has something to do with one of our agents being a bad guy. Probably Billy Crudup, that asshole.
What's your point?
Wow, she was just in a drug-induced stupor, having been beaten up. He gave her an adrenaline shot, and I almost sinned how easily she was able to hobble along after that. But now this come on.
CinemaSins explained this really well, but to summarize, adrenaline gives a person more strength and focus. It's designed to protect one from deadly situations. This is realistic is what I'm saying.
Makes for a cool shot, I guess, but there is no way in hell they're all arriving back at the van at the exact same time.
That was literally the plan. They all meant to meet here around this time.
Guys, the missiles are on!
That's scary, but why'd it take so long? They've been following him for like 2 minutes.
Probably because he was trying to lock onto his target and avoid the windmills around him.
Okay, I can see why the good guys went through the windmill, since they're evading an attack. But the bad guys? Did they have any reason to risk their lives other than challenging Darwin?
They saw Declan fly through and are trying to catch up as quickly as possible. This is them not thinking clearly.
It's unacceptable that chocolate makes you fat, but I've eaten my share, and guess what?
You know what the Mission Impossible series needed? The hard-ass, totally unfair boss dude who thinks any kind of failure is avoidable. I mean, surely you have better ways to use Lawrence Fishburne, right?
I wouldn't describe Rassel like that at all. The mission was a failure, and he's pointing out mistakes they made. Not to mention, he's also a red herring.
I've been trying to bring Davian down since the day that I got here.
Does that mean you too are a failure at CIA?
No, it means Davian is just that good at evading the IMF. And speaking of, sorry I didn't mention this before, but why are you calling them the CIA when they've made it clear that this is the IMF?
Movie stops for a funeral because the mostly minor character was played by Kerry Russell. Unimportant training flashback.
This funeral is important for Ethan's character since he lost Lindsay, an agent he trained himself, and feels slightly guilty that he couldn't save her. That unnecessary flashback was there to quickly explain that.
Sent you a piece of mail from Berlin.
Instead of simply finding a way to call you about this extremely important information.
They are calling him? And they're calling about a message Lindsay sent from Berlin. What do you want to happen differently?
Magnetic means encrypted.
Yeah, I know that.
But Luther, the audience doesn't.
Yelling at the screen.
Yeah, well, I'm assuming it's like a code word for something he's about to sell to an unspecified buyer. Maybe it's just a really, really expensive bunny appendage.
I mean, Simon Pegg is just taking over for the Marshall Flinkman character in Alias here.
The fourth Alias mention. I haven't seen that show, so I can't say anything about it, but it's still annoying hearing you compare it.
So we're watching a movie about a technology that could be the end of the world. So of course the protagonist's fiance works at a hospital.
You say that as if Julia being a doctor helps in this story, which it literally doesn't.
Ethan, what's going on?
Skipping this really compelling scene. You may not find this scene interesting, but I do.
Times like these, I really start to think of whatever happened to Naya from the last movie.
Since you already mentioned this in the last movie's video, this counts as double dipping.
Hereby take Ethan Matthew Hunt.
Oh yeah, I forgot something.
Skip a wedding? Aren't you married?
Do you mean to tell me that there are no guards here, and no one sees Ethan walking around the Vatican grounds about to shoot a thing towards their cameras?
Why would there be guards here? If some idiot climbed the wall, the cameras would catch them. They have no reason to anticipate the device Ethan just used.
They know this camera is out. That asshole radioed about it. So how is he able to just lie here on top of the wall with nobody in any of all those f***ing windows back there spotting it?
From their perspective, the camera was most likely losing its connection. It would take them a second to look out and check what's causing it.
I want to bitch about no one seeing this either, but honestly, do we have to have some version of this in all Mission Impossible movies?
Yes, we do. And again, you repeat things all the time.
Do guards at the Vatican really not know each other to the point that some dude they've never seen before can just wave people inside without consulting a higher authority?
Declan most likely told them that he has permission from higher authority.
Maggie Q seems kind of provocatively dressed for the Vatican, but I'm not complaining.
Sending something you like.
23 months, that's as long as it'll last.
Of all the things about this movie that might bother me, Luther constantly giving Ethan relationship advice throughout is near the top of the list. I mean, Luther?
Aside from the previous moment, this is the only time Luther brings it up, and then Ethan tells him that they're married, and he drops the topic.
Also, this whole plan relies on Davian going to the bathroom. But what if he never had to go to the bathroom? I admit, there's a decent chance he would have to go, but what if he didn't? Your plan is f***ed. You broke into the Vatican for nothing.
This is a massive CinemaSins L. Davian didn't go to the bathroom because he had to pee. He went because Zen spilled wine on his shirt, which I remind you, was planned. She intentionally did that, knowing Davian would go to the bathroom. You can even see the wine stains on his shirt. The fact that you missed that is insane and not funny at all.
Much like the guard in T2, Davian does not scream with terror upon seeing his long-lost twin, which is good for the plot because there are guards outside the bathroom ready to defend this man's life. Meanwhile, why does Ethan even leave that to chance?
That's just you, dude. If I saw someone who looked exactly like me, I'd be speechless too.
Fine, wait outside.
But you are 3 inches shorter. That's amazing and concerning, but whatever.
You think he noticed that? Or even if he did, would care?
So we see Declan lowering Davian down somewhere. I guess it's the sewers. But the next time we see the whole team together is on a boat, where I guess they somehow dragged an unconscious Davian out without anyone seeing him and put him in the trunk or something.
It's most likely they found a tunnel that led to this river and left a boat there.
Ethan.
You mean you heard Luther say Ethan's name while you were dangling precariously from the airplane with 575-mile-per-hour wind in your face? Not only that, some seriously unprofessional behavior leads to Luther saying Ethan's name out loud.
Luther wasn't thinking clearly in this scene because he didn't want to see Ethan potentially kill Davian. I think it's likely that Davian knew something like this would happen, which is why he kept trying to push Ethan's buttons.
Ethan, we got it. Lindsay's microdot. It's a video file.
Well, convenient you sent this message in a complicated enough way that it took until this point in the plot for Luther to decipher the message.
I wouldn't say it's convenient, though. Way before this would have been nice.
It's Brassel. I think he's working with Davian.
Also, oh no, their CIA boss is evil? That's something I've never seen in a Mission Impossible movie, since the first one.
What version of Mission Impossible 1 did you watch? The only IMF boss we saw in that movie was Kittredge, and he wasn't evil. And if you're talking about Jim Phelps, he was an agent. And besides, you even admit that this isn't true. Brassel isn't the villain, Musgrave is, who isn't a boss. This entire sin is BS.
Also, this seems like a dangerous fucking escape attempt. You're sure that your guys can aim those missiles in such a way that it won't hurt Davian?
Yes.
Helicopter guys not only wait forever to shoot Ethan, but move the helicopter out of the perfect position to shoot him before trying to shoot him. And let's not forget the trained soldier's horrible aim.
I'll admit you brought up a good point, but then you had to mention the horrible aim. Aiming guns is not as easy as you seem to think it is, especially while in a moving helicopter and while their targets are running.
This is a cool shot, and I love it, but the more I look at it, the less sense it makes.
Yeah, we're just not gonna listen to this and say you're sending something you like again.
Julia's in trouble, so there's instantly an awesome car Ethan can jump into after all the shit just went down on the bridge. And luckily, no traffic or wreckage to worry about.
Good point about there being no traffic in this shot, but are you saying none of these cars should work? How does that make sense to you?
Julia's on break, so of course she's walking down the hall where Michael Myers or Jason or Freddy is probably hanging out.
Arbitrary movie references.
Jules?
You hung me outside of an airplane.
God damn it, Philip Seymour Hoffman. Even posthumously, you're earning back sins for your greatness. 2 sins removed for this awesome performance.
I mean, I agree with you, and appreciate the sin removal, but you literally sinned Philip Seymour Hoffman for being in this video at all at the very start of this video. Like, do the 5 writers at CinemaSins not console each other at all?
IMF guys congregate at the hospital to catch Ethan, because they knew he'd be here, of course. I guess they tracked his phone once he fled the bridge? Who knows? Later, Musgrave says he tracked the call Davian made to it, but they would have had to intercept the call and get to the hospital in world record time to do that.
Yeah, I'm willing to buy that they tracked his phone, but they did that while he was running to the hospital, not when Davian was calling him.
Also, real IMF people come with orders to take Ethan just as he finds out he has 48 hours to save his wife. Even if Davian or Billy Crudup somehow orchestrated this, the timing is more than convenient enough to deserve sinning.
Hold on, Ethan was just told that he has 48 hours to save his wife, and you're saying the IMF showing up to arrest him is convenient? No, I'd say this was actually inconvenient, since Ethan lost some of that time before finally flying to Shanghai.
Not one of these 3 assholes even looks at super spy prisoner Ethan Hunt during this elevator ride.
The only reason Ethan escapes here is because Musgrave gave him a pocket knife. They have no reason to assume that he'll be able to find a way out.
Hunt was flagged on Sub-Basement 9.
Jesus, is he imitating Brassel right now? Who needs a fucking voice modulator when you can sound exactly like the person you need to sound like?
I mean, it's not that hard to do a Lawrence Fishburne impression.
Irony.
Okay, so?
I hear next door John Cusack is going crazy with all that paranormal activity going on in the room, and Samuel L. Jackson is somewhere around because he's always around.
I don't even know what he's referencing, but still, arbitrary movie reference.
And we have 2 hours before they kill my wife.
So you're expecting to be able to get the gear you need to do this insane plan, and then actually carry out the plan, and then call Davian about the rabbit's foot in 2 hours?
And they were able to do all that, so yes.
Okay, so he didn't fall to the ground, but at the height he fell and the velocity with which he crashed into that window, isn't he still dead?
I'm no physics expert, but that doesn't look deadly to me.
Lamppost ex machina.
Even though literally every single street in the middle of a city has lampposts, meaning this isn't a solution that comes from nowhere. Seriously, I'm starting to wonder what dictionary you read.
Movie expects me to believe Ethan is going to drop the one thing keeping his wife alive.
I can believe it, since he's still human and can make mistakes, and he was falling and was unexpectedly caught by that lamppost.
This car chase scene is filled with so much shaky camera movement and so many edits and confusion, why even bother keeping up?
Well, when you speed up the footage, you can fall for that. But in the regular speed footage, I was able to follow this action sequence just fine.
Alright, we're back to where we were at the beginning. Can we just go straight to the end of the countdown? We can just go straight to the end of the countdown, right? Right?
We don't watch the entire scene all over again, just the cliff notes so the audience remembers what was happening. And I think it's needed too, now that we have the context for who Julia is and why the rabbit's foot is so important.
You know, I really love Michael Giacchino, but he does a lot of his Lost score in this movie.
The second Mission Impossible movie in a row where you send music for sounding similar? Okay, sure.
Oh no, the other CIA boss is evil? That's something I've never seen in a Mission Impossible movie, since the first one.
Yeah, I'm not repeating all that BS I said the first time you said this.
Why is Musgrave not putting this phone on speaker? Does his CIA training not tell him what a bad idea this is?
That's a theme in these movies. Everyone underestimates Ethan.
God, if it wasn't for the motorcycle thing, there'd be a clear problem with the number of movies where Tom Cruise's character full-out sprints. And holy shit is he running! It's like they took the Tom Cruise running cliche and embraced it.
Don't care what else you're gonna say here. Sinning Tom Cruise sprinting. That's part of what makes his movies so darn fun.
Superstar spy Ethan Hunt, everyone.
Ethan may be brilliant, but again, he's not perfect. And he's currently afraid his wife might die, so he's emotionally distracted.
First rule of finding your wife held hostage is remove the tape from her mouth.
Ethan immediately feels the effects of the explosive inside his head before he could do that. Convenient that you cut that out.
You have maybe 4 minutes left.
Whatever the movie decides, it's enough time to keep you alive. I don't know, I haven't figured that out yet. But I know when I survive this, I'm going to make a faster acting capsule, first thing in the morning.
This is meant to show how evil Davian is, forcing Ethan to feel pain slowly before he finally dies.
For any reason, Ethan gets his ass kicked by Davian.
So, if I told you that he feels the explosive in his head, which gives him a massive headache, and Davian is clearly a capable fighter, would you not accept that reason?
Jesus, dude, if you have the energy and the wherewithal to do this, why were you letting Davian kick your ass so hard a minute ago?
Because he started to get used to the pain and figured out how to use it against him.
Ethan's head is about to explode, but sure, let's do some nookie.
Ethan might die here. At least one more kiss before he's potentially gone.
How do you know so much about this?
Julia, after being kidnapped and sent to Shanghai, and after you saw your husband running to save you, what the do you think? And did you never see True Lies or Alias?
We get it. This is like Alias. We got it the first 4 times you said that.
What?
Throw the switch on and off. Don't forget the off. You can bring me back.
I realize he's in pain and freaking out, but Ethan could not be giving his wife more confusing instructions right now if he tried.
What was so confusing about those instructions? He's telling her to flip a switch, which will theoretically deactivate the explosive. Oh, that's right. This is CinemaSins we're talking about here.
Evil CIA guy gets the jump on novice gun wife, but she still wins this confrontation because climax.
Because she shot first?
One thing. The rabbit's foot. What is it?
Promise me you'll stay, I'll tell you.
It's a MacGuffin. Yeah, I don't know what that means either.
Thank you. This is legit my one complaint with this otherwise pretty good movie. J.J. Abrams is way too obsessed with mystery boxes, man. I'm telling you. Oh well, at least it's better than not explaining how Palpatine returned.